Oh, hello, this is Tak Chong from Walk with Tak, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. This is a large strip of pasture right next to the Vermilion River. It is part of our property, and for many years we used to have cattle on this ground. We don't have it anymore, but recently somebody has just cut the grass and baled them, and which will be used for feeding cattle on his farm. Well, it turned out to be a beautiful place to walk on. In this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I use oyster sauce. This video is in response to a question. Somebody asked me, what are the different ways that you can use oyster sauce for? So I did some research and I found out that people use oyster sauce for many different ways, far more than what I use it primarily for. I have done other videos on the history of oyster sauce and how most people use oyster sauce. After I have done some searches on the internet, I was surprised that in fact oyster sauce used in far more different type of dishes than I ever imagined. And then I reached out to some of my friends as well as viewers on my YouTube channel. I discovered many of them have their favorite ways to use oyster sauce other than used in stir frying. So let me first talk a little bit about how I use oyster sauce. I consider oyster sauce to be my foundation sauce. And one of the reasons I really like oyster sauce is because its umami flavor. The naming of oyster sauce comes from the use of oyster extract, which is rich in umami flavor. Oyster extract in certain part of China has been used for many years in the past for flavoring dishes. Oyster is rich in umami flavor. When it combined with soy sauce, it creates a very delicate and flavorful taste. In the late 1800s, in the southern part of China, a company popularized the sauce by creating a commercial product. Oyster sauce gained increasing popularity over the following century and spread to all different parts of China. And now oyster sauce has become one of the most popular sauce worldwide. And the reason that I call oyster sauce for me is the foundation sauce because I usually use it as the first sauce that I add to my stir-fry dishes. I put my oyster sauce in a squeeze bottle. This will allow me to dispense the sauce both efficiently as well as precisely. In fact, I use oyster sauce so much in my cooking, I found out that the most economical way for me to get oyster sauce is to purchase them in a 5-pound can. This saved me about 50% in comparison if I purchased them in the largest bottle. I use different amount of oyster sauce in my dishes depending on what I am cooking and what are the food ingredients in the dish. I very rarely only use oyster sauce to season the dish. I always use a combination of other types of sauces. Hoisin sauce is the most frequent sauce that I use in combination with oyster sauce. This is the foundation to create a teriyaki flavor. And I usually use about 2 parts of oyster sauce to 1 part of hoisin sauce. The next sauce that I will use to the oyster and hoisin sauce is soy sauce. I usually skip soy sauce unless I want the dish to be more salty. I also use a dark soy sauce. As the name suggests, it is darker in color as well as it has a slight smoky flavor. I only use this dark soy sauce when I want to impart a dark color to the dish. If I want a dish to be spicy, I usually take 2 different approaches. The first is to use hot chili pepper flakes, which is most economical. The second is to use a hot chili sauce, and the most frequent hot chili sauce I use is called fried hot chili oil. Occasionally, I also add other sauces such as the sriracha sauce. And if I want to have a sweet and sour flavor, I will use a small amount of the Panda Express orange sauce. Other sauces that I occasionally use include teriyaki sauce, a sweet sour sauce, and a General Tso sauce. I only use those sauces to achieve some specific flavor characteristics, and I also only use a small amount. So the foundation of the flavor of almost most of my dishes is oyster sauce. However, I constantly adjust my sauces based on my flavor chasing concept. In addition to use oyster sauce in flavoring my stir-fry dishes, I also use oyster sauce as a garnish, mainly after I cook eggs. I quite often garnish an egg scrambled with oyster sauce to enhance its flavor. This is the extent how I use oyster sauce. But after I searched the internet as well as talking to my friends, I discovered that oyster sauce is far more widely used than I thought it once was. The first most interesting use of oyster sauce is by my friend Janet. She used oyster sauce in her salad. She told me that normally she eat her salad with oil and vinegar, and then she would add a touch of oyster sauce. And she thinks it also would be great when she used ranch dressing. The second unusual use of oyster sauce is that there's a recipe oyster sauce is added to a spaghetti sauce. According to the recipe, oyster sauce will make the spaghetti sauce more savory. After I found this recipe, I mentioned to my friend John, and he loves to make chilies. And he told me that for a long time, he has been adding a small amount of oyster sauce to his chilies. He told me that the oyster sauce makes his chili more savory. And after I taste the chili that he cooked for me, I agree with him completely. Another way that I find oyster sauce is being used is in a Thai peanut chicken dipping sauce. In this sauce, I can see how oyster sauce can enhance the flavor of this dipping sauce. Another unusual place that I find the oyster sauce is being used is a lasagna. Again, the addition of a small amount of oyster sauce enhance the flavor complexity of the lasagna. Also, I find online there are a number of recipes that oyster sauce is being added to noodle soups. I'm very glad that I took the time to do some search of how oyster sauce being used in other cooking situations. And now, I think I'm going to start to use the oyster sauce in addition to the stir-fry dishes that I normally make. And this is an excellent example of flavor chasing. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun so that it can become part of your daily routines. And if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.